गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वताय नमः। ओम श्री गुरु दत्तात्रेय नमः। ओम श्री महालक्ष्मी नमः। गुरुर् ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः। गुरुर् साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. So we are continuing Sri Ekanathi Bhagavad chapter 2 verse 36. Let me read this. By his body, speech, mind, organs, or by intellect, or even by his nature, or even by his own self, whatever the devotee does according to his essential nature may be offered to that Narayana completely. So yesterday we have stopped at the subverse 432. So let us continue. The Lord Sri Krishna blessed Arjuna with a state of trance, but that ocean of compassion, the Lord did not allow him to go into the state of stupor, but made him fight with full strength. So what Sri Krishna Bhagavan was explaining here is that, see, you have to do whatever is your duty, being in oneness, in devotion to the Divine Lord, and not being lost in samadhi. We were understanding how samadhi happens not just by sitting in one place, but in the very given moment while you are performing your daily activities. And I've given you example. I'm not going to go into the details, but here there's an example given of how Lord Sri Krishna blessed Arjuna with the state of trance. Okay, so he was in that oneness with the Divine Lord, but that ocean of compassion, the Lord did not allow him to go into the state of stupor, where he becomes non-performing. Means you're not doing any action, you're just sitting in one place, saying that I am in the state of samadhi. That's not what he was talking about. And stupor is going into the state of inertness as well. Then the Lord did not allow him to go into the state of stupor, but made him fight with full strength. So what is he saying? Being in oneness in devotion with the Divine Lord, with a single pointed devotion, you have to do your duties to the highest of your abilities. That is with the God-given potential. That is what Krishna Bhagavan made Arjuna do. Okay, now let us continue. Only Sadguru can give to our intellect the knowledge of how the state of equilibrium should be maintained, though we are busy doing all sorts of activities. And that is why, even in the cruel act of war, the mind does not leave the state of trance in Atman. This is very, very beautiful. So what did I say? What is being taught here? He's talking about only the Sadguru. Now, I don't want to jump the guns and now explain to you who is the Sadguru. Okay, I think we've done all the scriptures and we understand, but in this scripture, Krishna Bhagwan and especially Ekanath Maharaj is going to give you a fantastic understanding of who this Sadguru is and how do you recognize this real master. That is something we're going to learn in chapter 12. So I'm not going to jump the guns, but let us focus on what is being taught here. Only Sadguru can give to our intellect the knowledge of how the state of equilibrium should be maintained, though we are busy. Now, this is a very important thing. So, what is he saying? So, what did he teach Arjuna? He was telling Arjuna, surrender all actions unto me. So, this whole verse, what we are learning is every action that you perform, whether using your sense organs, your mind, your body, everything, first has to be surrendered to the Divine Lord. It has to be performed in love and devotion, in oneness, in single pointed devotion. Do you know there is a foundation of Bhagavad Gita? Do you know what that is? It is knowledge, it is duty, and love and devotion. Means what? He is giving you the knowledge. Having the knowledge doesn't mean you're not supposed to do. Knowledge makes you wise. Knowledge makes you do things, that is nishkama karma, means selfless action. So knowledge is important. Krishna Bhagwan is always going to first give you the knowledge, and that represents the Sankhya Yoga. Then you have to perform your karma. Please understand, there is no freedom. There is nobody can say that I am not going to do anything. I'm going to be sitting like this is what he was explaining, right? He did not tell Arjuna to, he did not make Arjuna go into a stupor. Yeah, he gave him the trance, but did not allow him to get into the stupor, but made him fight the war with full strength. So what does that represent? That represent that Lord Shri Krishna, who is within us, makes you use all the capabilities, the highest of the potentials within us, to serve your purpose in this world. That is what he makes you do. But how does it happen? You have to empower the God within you first. That is what he taught Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He imparted the knowledge and he said how to follow the path of dharma. What he taught him is the way of life. Even Bhagavata is nothing but the way of life. He's giving you an understanding, what is this way of life? How do you go about doing things in the world? Okay, then he says, now you go and fight. Because now when you do anything in this world, you're only doing it for me. Then no karma accrues to you. So you're only performing, you're only doing nishkama karma, which means selfless action. And then there is no karma coming at all. And please understand, war, where we say, oh, in our scriptures it is written that we are not supposed to fight and it is against adharma. We talk about non-violence, right? But here Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, you have to fight the war, whatever that is, Now when you fight that war, when instructed by the divine Lord, none of whatever you think in the Vedas is mentioned is applicable to you. You know why? Because you are only listening to the divine Lord. He is the framework. He is the one who writes the laws. Everything falls under him. He is telling you, go fight the war. This is a righteous war. So you cannot say, no, I am not going to stand up and fight. Anything which is as per the dharma, you have to follow. So that is what he said, Arjuna. So, and most important, what is he saying? Only the Sadguru can give to our intellect. See, who's the Guru? The Parabrahman has manifested in the form of a Guru. Now, those who have this real master are very privileged beings. Only thing is, you don't seem to understand what you have in your life. Because we look at the Guru as a very ordinary mortal. He looks to us very ordinary. Very strange thing happened. I'll tell you how this works. The Gurus work in a very strange way, and they are always, their Maya, the delusion is the Maya that they portray. Okay, simple thing. The Guru's way of working is very unique. You can't even fathom it. 2 days ago, me and my Guruji were going out. So what happened? I was going to take the car out, but the person who was supposed to clean the car had not cleaned, and because it had rained, there was a lot of the dust which had settled on the glass. Now my Guruji said, give me a cloth, I need to dust it. I told him, let me clean, it's okay. He said, no, give me a cloth, I need this to be dusted. So I immediately gave him a cloth, and what he did was he was just dusting that whole glass. And then he took that cloth and we sat inside and threw it on the back seat. I was a little paranoid. I'm like, why would you do this? Why are you throwing it on the seat, right? It's so dirty. So and then I took the cloth. The moment I went to do this, he said something very strange. If you do like this, your dust is always going to be attached to you. You're never going to get rid of your dust. I didn't understand what he meant at that moment in time. So I said, okay, fine, I'm sorry. And then I just folded that cloth and I put it in a place where it is accessible. And later we went, I came back, and here I was doing this Ekanathi Bhagavat with my Guruji, and we were doing, we had one chapter, and in that I was learning a very important lesson. And this was about how do you give up the attachments to the family and everything, your body and all that, relatives and all that. And then I was walking and contemplating about it. How do you overcome these people, places and things? Why does it happen? And suddenly there was like this vision, suddenly it revealed, oh my God, by dusting the car, he actually dusted out my sinus or the dust allergies that I have. And this is a very strange way of working of a Guru. I came back to him and I profusely apologized. It's just that we forget in that spur of the moment and we get carried away by a physical appearance that you see of your master. See, at every single moment, he's always doing something very unique. Never ever discount what he says. Don't use your mind. The whole point was, I at that moment was logically looking at the dust. In the Guru's ways, they are very unique. So what he did was, by dusting out that dust on my car, he was dusting it from within my being, whatever the allergies I have of dust. He was removing, he was eradicating it within me. But at that moment, you don't understand why he does. Even the smallest of the act which he's performing has a very important significance. Don't, everything that he says is always continuously, it is transforming people, it is doing good to someone, it is, he's always doing something beautiful. But you know what we do, we use our mind and reason out in a logical manner. There is no logic in this world. And please understand, a Sadguru's ways of doing things is very unique. See, in Sai Baba's Poti, if you have read that, in that Baba will give a contradictory, like, remedies. For someone with stomach ache and, who's having a diarrhea, he would say, take these peanuts and eat. And just the faith in that will cure that disease. Similarly, the Guru here, my Guruji also works in a very unique manner. So what happens is, people look at his physical appearance and the way he speaks, that's just full of Maya. He's deluding people with this Maya, which you can't see through. And you need the grace. And that moment when it hit me really hard, I'm like, oh my God. It was, in the spur of moment, I said those words and I came and apologized to him because he was doing good to me. You can't recognize their ways. The method, how they work is very unique. So here also what is saying, only the Sadguru can give to our intellect that knowledge. See, it is not that you have the capability of understanding. Please understand this. You are nothing. You are minus, not even zero in our world. You are literally in minus. It is the grace. It is when the Guru speaks to you. It is when he imparts the knowledge that it hits the intellect. Please understand this. Don't even use your mind, because people have this dirty about of talking in front of the Guru, saying whatever they feel like and trying to give their version of it. Nobody's interested in your version. See, like my Guruji will tell, you have come here to learn. So please shut up, shut your mouth, shut your mind, leave everything, your chappal, your mind, ego, everything outside. When you meet a Sadguru, please come with humility and humbleness. Because what he gives is the knowledge about the truth, not this material worldly knowledge. The material worldly knowledge has no use, no meaning. In fact, this morning when we were doing Tripura Rahasyam, you understood that everything, whatever has a beginning, has to end also. The same knowledge is there in the scripture. We are going to learn in detail, and especially Eknathi Maharaj has explained it very beautifully. And so, please understand, when you are sitting in front of the Guru, you have to learn with open heart and open mind, and don't use your mind. You just have to listen in and understand what is he speaking. See, it is only when the Guru sees you and he is teaching you that it hits your intellect directly. Very clearly mentioned, only the Sadguru. Who is the Sadguru? The God Almighty. Not anybody can call themselves a Sadguru or anything. Here, Satguru. Sat means what? Sat means truth. The master who knows the truth. And that is Paramatma himself. And here he's saying only Satguru can give to our intellect the knowledge of how the state of equilibrium. What does equilibrium means? Most important. It's a very difficult thing to achieve. See, when you hear anything constantly, right, you're always swaying between the pairs of opposites. What is it? Something is right, something is wrong, good, bad, sad, happy, beautiful, ugly. We're constantly switching. We're doing yo-yo. That equilibrium state, the centeredness. And that is what he can give you. But provided you evolve to that level. And what's, he's saying of how the state of equilibrium should be maintained, though we are busy doing all sorts of activities. And that is why, even in the cruel act of war, the mind does not leave the state of trance in Atman. My Guruji will tell something very beautifully. Any job that you do, whether you eat, you breathe, you sleep, you work, understand you're doing it for Krishna Bhagwan. That is called, you're not doing it for yourself, you're serving the Divine Lord. Every action of yours have to be surrendered to him. Every action you need to understand you're serving the Divine Lord. Don't think it is my house, my wife, my husband, my children. No, it is everybody belongs to Divine Lord alone. You cannot take the ownership. The moment you take the ownership, please understand the karma sticks with you. Your destiny is yours and nobody can make a change, not even your Gurudev. In last so many years, since the time I have come to my Guruji, I have seen many people come, go. Not 99% of them don't obey the command given by my Guruji. And they have gone into the gutters. They have literally gone rock bottoms in life. That is their funeral. It's not that my Guruji has not made effort to save them or tell them what is going to come about. But people have this very dirty way of, oh no, I know more. They don't want to listen to my Guruji. And that is the biggest mistake every disciple makes. So don't make that mistake. So what is he saying here? It is only he can tell you how to have this equilibrium even while doing all sorts of activities. And that is why, see, understand, even in the cruel act of war, the mind does not leave the state of trance in Atman. So when Arjuna was fighting, who was with him? Krishna Bhagwan was with him. He was the charioteer. And what happened? He was taking care. So Arjuna's single-pointed devotion, that is the state of trance. Do you know why we get so lost if we are not able to perform to the highest of the abilities? Because our mind is in action. We do not have the single-pointed devotion to that task. So what is that you have to practice? That in everything you have to understand whatever the work, the duty that you're doing it for the divine Lord. That oneness is what you have to experience. Till you do not have the state of equilibrium, it's very difficult for you to do that. So your mind is going to come constantly. It is going to say, oh no, you should do like this, you should do like that. So we do not follow even a simple instruction. You know, the strangest part was what? In the material world, when I used to work, everything was very complex. And I was so used to doing the complex things. But when my Guruji gave the most simplest of the instructions, I would fail doing that or even understanding it. It is very simple. Like very stupid and simple, I'll tell you. You know, he will tell, do this posting like this or whatever that, the most simplest things he will tell. But that itself, everybody will use their mind and make it very complex. Actually, the instructions of your Gurudev is very simple. You know, the truth is what, you know what? It is all very simple. But in the material world, they make the simple things very complex and dole it out. But when you come into the world of spiritual, the most complex things, your Gurudev breaks it like to a child and gives it to you, so that your stupid and simple mind, the mind which doesn't work at all, will understand and you perform those actions. It is simple instructions. But that simple instruction is very difficult to follow. Why? Because you don't want to follow. Your mind is always active. So that is why the progress in spiritual world doesn't happen. And you are going to still be, facing the same consequences of your actions. Why? Because you're using your mind and then karma happens. So destiny plays its card. And this is the truth nobody understands. Here, who was driving the chariot of Arjuna? Krishna Bhagwan. Arjuna did not use his mind at that moment in time. When Krishna Bhagwan instructed, do this, fight like this, he did exactly what Krishna Bhagwan instructed Arjuna. That is after all the Mahabharata, 18 chapters, not before that. He went through 18 chapters, then only he listened. Because why? Krishna Bhagwan had to, tell him, now if you do not listen to me, you are going to perforce perform the same action born of your nature. And who's going to make you do that? Maya. So it was a threat, it was a gunpoint. Then only Arjuna did, not before that. So you as Arjuna, if you don't listen and do, it is your funeral. Please understand. This privilege of having this master in your life is waste. You are wasting his time, your time, everybody's time. How many people will get? And that's what he's saying, this proximity. That my Guruji asked a very simple question. In this entire world, there are so many great, the so-called Babajis and Gurus and whatever. Do you think you can even meet with them? Do you think you can have this conversation with them? No. But when you are not understanding how priceless it is. People take it for granted. So kindly don't take it for granted. Revere him. You need to give him that highest of the respects that is there in this world. Don't take him for being too granted, just because you have the proximity, just because you have the access, just because you're able to get this knowledge. It is priceless knowledge. No Guru Dakshina you offer to him is equivalent to the knowledge that he gives. It is priceless. No price can be put to it. That is the kind of knowledge a Sadguru gives. And that too, it hits in your being. This is a very important verse. So what does he make you do? He makes you understand how to have single-pointed devotion to the task and then serve your purpose. That is what he's talking about. So let us continue. When the intellect grasps in principle the absolute Brahman, any action done by such a yogi is always without volition or projection of any objective to be achieved. That is the real merger of intellect. All other activity and knowledge is an illusion, a conjecture, and only a speculation. Simply put, what is he saying? Your intellect. We learned something very nice yesterday, right? He was saying intellectual becomes devotional. I don't know which words, but you can go back and refer. It was very beautifully explained how your intellect becomes devotional. And which means what? Your entire mind, even the reasoning is now going only towards the aspect called knowledge, towards the aspect called devotion. So your devotion level has to grow, because what happens is, where is the reasoning happening? In the intellect is constantly telling, yes, this is right, that is wrong, this is right, that's wrong. And all this is happening in the mind. Mind itself is an illusory thing. And you're constantly talking to something which is not there at all, an unreal world. Because you believe there is a mind. So when you believe there is a mind, the mind becomes very active. And you're always deluded. That is the truth. So, one whose complete attention is merged into Swarupa, or the self, and whose attitude towards all outside things is fully in a state of uninterrupted equanimity, is not disturbed due to ignorance, whether he is performing any action or is not doing anything. This state is called the Parama Samhadi, or the highest transcendental state. Very simple again. One whose complete attention is merged in the Swarupa. Swarupa is what? A form. You can see a form. It could be just your Gurudev or even a Krishna Bhagwan's. Whatever is your Ishta, you are merged in that form. You are completely lost in that. Or the self. Anything. It's a Swarupa. Swarupa is a form. Or the self, which is something oh, it's there. Krishna Bhagwan is within me. There's a consciousness, the self. If you have to be merged, means in the oneness. The moment you wake up to you sleep, even in your dream state or what, there should be only one object, and that is called your Ishta, the self or the God. That is Swarupa here. And whose attitude towards all outside things is fully in state of uninterrupted equanimity. Simply means what? You are not disturbed by what is happening in the outward world. See, the moment we see some object, whether we like it or not, the moment that object comes in front of you, your mind starts talking. Nonsensical things it comes about, uninterrupted, no interruption. It goes on with a dialogue within you. Thought constructs goes on. So what happens? You're lost in that. Then that equanimity, forget equanimity, single pointed devotion is gone out of the window. You are not even thinking about the Swarupa or yourself. You're so lost in your material world. The lower nature is what becomes active. And then you're completely lost in that. So where is the devotion here? Equanimity of mind, not in this life. To eternity you can't achieve. Krishna Bhagwan to out of no question also. This scripture actually teaches a most important lesson. What kind of a devotee you have to be to see him. What kind of devotional service you need to do to even achieve Krishna Bhagwan. It is not so easy. Grace comes. Every being, every individual, once in their lifetime, in this entire, whatever the 4 yugas, every yuga, every individual soul will get an opportunity. The grace comes to many people, but how much do you even want it? It's in the rare that he himself comes on this planet earth. He's manifest in the form of a guru, and you're going to get the knowledge from him. That itself is the greatest privilege. And when we have that, how much is your effort? See, you can't just sit and do nothing and then tell, I want to achieve Krishna Bhagwan. Doesn't work like that. What is he doing? He also comes and does work. You know why? Because he says in Bhagavad Gita, see, for me there is nothing to achieve. I don't even have to do any of these things. But yet I have to do, because he says, if I stop doing, then this whole universe will come to a standstill. Human beings will not perform. This morning I was looking at my Guruji and saying, why are you doing all this? You are Krishna Bhagwan. You don't need to do any of these things. And he looks at me and he says, Rajma, I need to do. If I don't do, then none of these people will do around me. Today, they are not doing anything. I felt very sad looking at him. He doesn't have to do any of these things. It's not even his job. And yet he does everything. You know why? Because he understands the truth. And only we, ignorant being, do not understand this truth. And we are so lost running after material gains when everything is going to come to an end one day. Nothing will remain. And this truth is not understood by us. And we're still striving hard. Oh, I need to earn. I need to pay taxes. I need to get this. I need to buy that. I have to achieve this. Everything is fake in this material world. Everything is unreal. And the day you realize this, you'll know there's no point in running after it. But whatever is your duty, you just have to do and keep going. Don't run after anything at all. That is the truth. So then, what does it mean? So whose attitude towards all outside things is fully in a state of uninterrupted equanimity, is not disturbed due to ignorance. Most important, that you're not disturbed due to ignorance. This is very important. We are filled with ignorance. Why? Because lack of knowledge. No knowledge. So today what does the Sadguru do? Once again, only Sadguru can give to our intellect the knowledge. To our intellect. So every single day, isn't the Sadguru giving you that knowledge? Para Brahman is sitting and giving the knowledge. How much effort are you putting in? Are you even living that 1% of that knowledge he is imparting? You know, we get so lost in that material world and we'll come and tell him, oh, this happened, that happened. We talk all the futile things. Who gives a damn? He's not even interested in your life and all the nonsense that you keep talking about. You are talking about the nonsense because you feel that is so relevant in your life. It is worthless. Talk about God. Talk about how you can progress, how you can grow. And ask a question. How do I overcome whatever the things, that is relevant to your progress? My Guruji has always told me, Rajma, don't talk about the stories from the material world. The day you understand this, you will understand how to value time. Because please understand, the time, the clock is ticking for you, not for him. And his clock is very different. It's very, very different. The time doesn't match. And this time, the importance of time, we forget. The day you understand the value of time and you do things in time, you will understand that Krishna Bhagwan is on your side. Everything will work so beautifully for you. But when you delay things, nothing in your world is going to work. Something that we don't realize. See, we get so lost in only ourself, the selfishness that shouldn't be. So here also, that is called ignorance. What is the ignorance? Being lost in yourself, only doing things for your family, thinking about my children, my husband, my wife, my job. All this is going to come to an end. The only thing which you need to realize is the truth. And understand, in the material world, you have to sleepwalk. So, and is not disturbed due to ignorance. Whether he is performing any action or is he not doing anything. This state is called the Parama Samadhi. So what is it? And Parama Samadhi. Parama means what? Eternal. That Samadhi is what you will be in. And then what is it called? Highest transcendental state. A transcendental state, which means you do not think you're the body, you do not think you're performing an action, everything you're doing, yet you're not into it. You're not bothered about the outcomes, you're not bothered about the incomes, you're not bothered about anything at all. You're just doing it and surrendering everything at the lotus feet of your Gurudev. My Guruji will say very simple things. Why are you bothered, Rajma? What has to be will be. When the temple has to happen, let it happen. When Krishna Bhagwan wills, he will do it. Why are we concerned? We are not concerned with it. We just have to do everything that we are supposed to do. We are not bothered about how things are going to happen. Nobody has control about tomorrow. So what you think you are going to think and worry about and you think you can change your destiny, is it? The only being who knows everything is your Gurudev. So listen to him, your life will become beautiful. When you don't listen to him, your life is going to be hell. Understand this truth. Then, when identification of I with the body is totally dissolved, there is no ego disturbing the state of Atman and no ignorance affecting action or inaction. This is flawless, absolute, transcendental state. See, before I do this, very important thing here, Eknath Maharaj is mentioning something very beautiful. He's saying, and that is why even in the cruel act of war, the mind does not leave the state of trance in Atman. See, when we kill, whatever, so in case of Arjuna, he was performing the Kshatriya Dharma. Kshatriya Dharma is he's a warrior. He must kill, okay? He has to kill the enemies. But in this case, the enemies were his brothers, his teacher, his grandsire. He was he was so much in love with his grandson, that is Bhishma Pitama. But what does that mean? He's not disturbed. He's not going to be disturbed. And whatever they act here, Krishna Bhagavan is teaching what is dharma actually. But the same thing if you take in the material world, people tell, how can he kill his teacher? How can he kill his brothers? So today, all these ignorant people, they are following the societal created norms. They are greater than God. I did not know that. And all blind man follows all the people are following one blind man. And everybody is becoming blind in the process. How funny is that? The dharma can only be explained by the Lord Almighty. Only He can tell you what real dharma is. What is action, what is inaction, and what is prohibited action. You cannot misconstrue the knowledge and twist it and turn it according to your convenience. Today, all these people who think there is right and wrong both are in gutter. Both are right and wrong. Everything that the world is following, all of you are accruing more and more karma. Because right and wrong, according to whom? So if the war has to be fought, Krishna Bhagavan will always say what is just has to be done. Truth prevails. In the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, what has been mentioned? Where there is Krishna Bhagavan and Arjuna, there prevails truth, grandeur, glory, goodness, and righteousness will prevail. That is what it is. So you have to walk the path of dharma. And if you cannot, you can't be on this path also. Then this is not a path for you. So when identification of I with the body is totally dissolved, where there is no ego disturbing, that's the state of Atman, and no ignorance affecting action or inaction. Whether you're performing an action or inaction, nothing should affect you. So when Arjuna killed, it should not affect him, because he's doing what is dharma, what is righteous action as instructed by Lord Shri Krishna Bhagavan. That is the truth. Then this is the flawless, absolute transcendental state. What is he saying? This is the flawless, absolute, transcendental state. And that is the transcendental state you need to be. So whether you perform an action or inaction, nothing is happening to you. You are just going as per the path, as per dharma. So that is why following your Gurudev's instruction is very, very, very important, because you don't know what is dharma. Dharma is taught only by your master, who is Almighty Lord, not some ordinary people. There is no Babajis in this world, so-called gurus in this world can give you this knowledge. This is supreme knowledge. It is knowledge about the truth. And that is what you need to understand. Then when the intellect becomes absorbed in the devotion of the inner reality, that is self, it becomes itself offered to Lord Shri Krishna. Whatever karma is being done, this is exactly what it is. It is so important. When the intellect becomes absorbed, so your intellect is absorbed in the devotion of the inner reality or the self, that is the self. The inner reality is Krishna Bhagavan or self, whatever you want to call him. I will say it's my Krishna Bhagavan. I am only devoted to him. My intellect is absorbed in it. It can't think anything beyond Krishna Bhagavan. That is what it has to be. So it becomes itself offered. So it becomes itself offered to the Lord Shri Krishna, whatever karma is being done. So no karma accrues. You become a tool in the hands of the divine Lord. You are just like a puppet in the hands of the puppeteer. He's just pulling the strings and you're dancing according to the tunes that he's making you to dance. So don't think that I am doing. But for which, what is most important? The devotion of the inner self. The devotion is very important. Then that intellect becomes itself offered. So your intellect is also merged and offered to the divine Lord at the lotus feet of the Lord Shri Krishna. Then whatever karma is being done, it doesn't affect you. Then it becomes nishkama karma, selfless action. Action serve to do some purpose. Action serve to do something good in this world. And that is why we are always taught to be your good self. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verse 1, 2, 3, you got to follow. Those words, in that even you live one word, you have achieved a lot. We are not even telling all the 3 verses you have to live. One word in that. You know what is the first word? Absolute fearlessness. Let us see how much fearlessness you can become. That is one word. If you achieve, you have attained liberation. You don't need to do anything beyond that. That itself is freedom. That itself is liberating. But can a man be free? Can fear not come to him? Every single moment of your life, you're living in fear. So where is the question of God and truth in your life? See, this most important lesson, you don't have to be afraid of anybody or anything in this world. When you are following the path of truth and when you are truthful, you don't have to be afraid of anything at all. And when you understand this, then you know what? This self reveals itself, which means you are on the path, you are merged in yourself. You're merged with Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan. That is the truth. So we will stop here and continue. This is a very, very important verse. So hopefully we'll finish it tomorrow. So we will stop here. That is at 4:37. We have subverse. We have stopped. Thank you for joining Shri Ekanathi Bhagavad Satsang. Have a good day and good evening to you all. God bless.
Recording stopped.